Hi, what's happening, Soul Surfers? Welcome to the second episode of Get Stoked TV. I am your host, not your guru, Tim McCauley. In today's discussion, we're going to answer an email from my friend Spiros, who had this to say about the first episode of Get Stoked TV. I very much enjoyed the content. The explaining part, though, I personally would have liked more of that, with more breakdown of what's actually happening. So, in the case of this video, as you were talking about the habit loop and how we were on autopilot and stuff, I actually got a little lost in that part because you started explaining the habit loop, what's happening, and then you went right into the example, and then your habit loop and intentionally building. And with a bit more focus of what's going on with the trigger and how to hijack it, and those sorts of things, I think I would have followed it better. Great start overall, and I know it's only going to get better. First off, thank you, Spiros. So let's bring this all home real quick. The basal ganglia is the birthplace of addictions, and whether we like to admit it or not, we're all addicts to some degree. And that's why I wanted to start the conversation in 2014 at Get Stoked TV with the idea of hacking habits. A very long time ago, human evolution, it was crazy. You had lions and tigers and bears. Oh, wait. Maybe you didn't have bears, but shit was crazy. There were warring tribes to deal with. We were hunter-gatherers foraging for food on a daily basis. We didn't have modern conveniences. And if you think people in traffic are assholes, you should have been back in the day when we were bashing each other's heads in with rocks for no apparent reason. And we weren't like doing that all the time. Most of the time we're spent walking around collecting berries, picking low-hanging fruits and stuff like that. Anyhow, this was about the time in human evolution when we started to develop the neofrontal cortex. And if you didn't know, we have three sections of our brain. We have the prefrontal neocortex, which is, I believe, unique to human beings. We have the limbic system, which is made up of 40 different parts, and it controls all of our emotions and our state of being. And then, like I said, we have the basal ganglia. They call this the reptilian brain because it's common in all vertebrate animals, all the way back to reptiles 500 million years ago. Here's the deal. Conscious decision making takes up a lot of energy. You don't want to have to think of any of the mundane things that you have to think about on a daily basis. And that's where the basal ganglia comes in, and that's where habit loops happen. Imagine that you move to a new city, and you get your house in order, and you feel all warm and cozy. You go to the fridge, and you're out of ginger, and you really want ginger carrot juice. There isn't anything you can do about it except get up, go to the store, and get some juice. And you're in a new town, so you might as well, right? First thing that we get to do, since we don't have to go pick our own ginger, we get to type in the store. Or if you're on an iPhone, you say, Siri, where's the nearest grocery store? And Siri gives you some options. Now you choose an option to plug into your GPS, and your GPS gives you turn-by-turn directions. You go to the store, you get out, you walk around. Hopefully the perimeter, the outside of the grocery store where the healthiest food resides. You find your ginger, you find a few other items, you press reverse route, and you come back home. Now every time you go to the grocery store, you don't have to do that, and that's where the basal ganglia came in. It recognized patterns. The cue, something missing from the fridge. Craving of the reward of ginger juice compels you to get in the car and you go. After a certain amount of trips, you don't think about it. You just drive. So you basically have that GPS saying, turn left in 100 yards. In your head. But you don't hear it. You don't see it. You just drive. That's how the basal ganglia works. That's what's working in your head 40% of the time when you're on autopilot, and that's what we're trying to hack this year, 2014. So here's the rub. Your basal ganglia is an idiot. It only seeks rewards. It doesn't care if it's healthy or unhealthy. I gained a little bit too much fat, you know, that new relationship, whoop, I got it. And I want to get rid of it. But unfortunately, some of my eating patterns are habit loops. And think about it. If you can change 40% of your day and change the habitual behaviors that you have, that you automatically reach for vegetables instead of donuts, losing fat becomes easy. It just becomes your second nature. You're going to look back in 2015 and laugh at how easy it was. Alright, I hope that clears things up for you, Spiros. Or if you're not Spiros, I hope that clears things up for you too. Thursday we're going to have a podcast. We're going to talk about the science of burning fat. You're going to be able to download it, put it in your ears, walk around. Now, if you want to be on the list, you need to get to GetStoked.TV and sign up anywhere on that page. This was the second episode of Get Stoked TV. I am your host, not your guru, Tim McCauley. Blah, 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 blah. We're going to talk about whatever the hell I want to talk about. On Thursday's podcast, we're going to talk about burning fat, working out for that. Did that rhyme? I didn't intentionally rhyme. I'm not Dr. Seuss over here. Next week, we're going to discuss whatever the hell I want to discuss. And remember, I'm not your guru. I'm just the host of Get Stoked TV. You need to go to GetStoked.TV and sign up.